Okay, we're live. Go ahead, Debbie. You're muted. You're muted still, Debbie.
How's that?
It's good. It's good. Does it, real quick, does it show that it's recording on your end? I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank everybody for being here, and thank you, Sam, for being the guy to make this work, because it certainly wouldn't be me. I want to start off, and I want to thank everybody on the call and everybody in our company and in our country for the service that they have given for Veterans Day. This is November 11th, 2020. And I appreciate everybody taking time this evening to join us for Think Like a Pro leadership training. And especially big welcome out there to all of our new people. Some of you new people might not know what we've done is 4 elite leaders have locked arms to bring you a weekly education. And it's myself, it's Pro 7, Dr. Jean DeLucia in St. Pete, also Pro 8, Vandy Flake, and Snowflake, Arizona, and Kai Hayes in Austin, Texas. So I'm very honored to be with you this evening. And I've been working for LifeVantage for 8 years. I had no network marketing experience. I've only been in the horse world. And so this business was very, very foreign to me. And I was very glad that this was a duplication business, because I had to just copy what someone else did. I'd spent my life reinventing the wheel. And when I realized all I had to do was what someone else had done that's been successful, that was when they started making it a little bit easier business. And so that's one reason I'm super excited for our guest this evening. He is an absolute rock star. Company for longer than I have, but he's certainly achieved a rank that's amazing. He's a Pro 9, and for you new people, that's a pretty amazing volume to have going through your business every single month. $500,000 worth of volume that that many people that he has been able to help, as well as the animals that have been in his life. And I really love his resume. I've heard it many times, but when you read it, I can't read it all because it's just so much. He's a fabulous person. And I'm so grateful that someone like Greg is in our organization that truly cares about our animals. He's been 57 years is his experience that he brings to the table, not only with the horses, but also with cattle. He is certified by the National Association of Animal Control Officers. So thank you for all that you do. He is a certified equine abuse investigator and holds a level of equine abuse training that only 40 people in the world have achieved. So that is very impressive. And I'm so glad there's people out there looking after our critters. He was a former deputy sheriff and animal control officer, and he also competed professionally in rodeos for over 40 years. So he's considered a horse expert and a cattle expert. And I thank you so much for joining us. Are you there, Greg? Greg Dieker?
I am, Debbie. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So appreciate you being here.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. You do know what an expert is, though, don't you? An expert is just the next guy from out of town. That was our line when I worked in corporate America forever. When somebody said, "Yeah, we got an expert coming in," it's, "Oh, what town's he from?" He's from out of town.
Well, that resume sounded a little better than the guy next door. So we are grateful that you're here, and we want to hear a lot of things from you. I know you're going to bring a lot to the table this evening. Number one, I can't wait to hear your story. You might not even know this. I did tell you an awful long time ago, but I went to Las Vegas 8 years ago just to check out what network marketing was, because I didn't believe the money was real. Mm-hmm. I had spent enough time, saw we knew the products were real, the science was real, and I just couldn't, I wanted to change gears where I was. And I was like, there's just no way that, somebody can make this kind of money and just do this kind of part-time. So I went out there and I met you the first night I was there, and I was out there to prove to myself that this wasn't real. And I sat next to you and I asked you for your story, and you told me your darn true story. And I was like, I can hardly believe this, but who could make this up?
Well, Thank you. You know, if you saw me in Las Vegas 8 years ago, that was my first time on stage for LifeVantage. It was a fantastic opportunity. I was the opening speaker of the event, and John McGarry, who had asked me to speak, said, "It's your job to wow up the crowd. No pressure." Thanks, John. I appreciate that. But I had a great time doing it. And I met a lot of people like you when I was there. And again, that's to me is the best part of LifeVantage is the people. I'm on this call here tonight with some people that I really respect, and I have had the opportunity to not only work business with, but become my friend. Sam Flake and his wife, Vandy, are two very special people to me. I still remember the day I met Sam, the first time I shook his hand, and we had a talk before a premier school started. And ever since then, we've been the best of friends. And you got Greg and Kai Hayes on here, two people I really enjoy their company, and I really enjoy spending time with them and learning from those guys, as well as having them. They've asked me in the past to talk to their team too. So I want you guys to know that I take it extremely seriously when someone invites me to speak to their team, especially when it's cross-line like this. Because I always worry about, do I deliver? Do I give you something that you can use that's going to help you advance your LifeVantage business, help you move the needle forward? And clearly the leaders that have gotten together to do this, Sam and Vandy and Greg and Kai and Gene DeLuca, I mean, you got great leaders there. You got people that know what they're doing. So hopefully I'm going to add something maybe you haven't heard from them before. Maybe you've heard it a little differently, but it'll be something that'll benefit you guys. Thank you again also to the veterans. For those of you who are veterans out there, your service means the world to me. I'm going to tell you now, I did not serve. Many members of my family did serve, but for those of you that are on Facebook with me, friends, you'll see this on Facebook, but I do wear 2 dog tags and a crucifix around my neck every day. One of the dog tags is for my cousin Rob, who fought in Desert Storm and ended up dying of his injuries in Desert Storm when he got home. The other is for my brother Alan, who was in the Gulf War. He was a Navy man in the Gulf War. He made it home alive as well, only to unfortunately lose his life in a workplace accident. And the third one that hangs around my neck is a crucifix of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Those are 3 men that remind me every single day that there's people out there that are willing to put their lives on the line and even give their life so that I can have the kind of life I want. And of course, in our Lord and Savior's position, he died so we can all have the opportunity to go to heaven. So, it reminds me every day when I touch those dog tags, just how important it is for the people that came before us. So LifeVantage, guys, I'm going to tell you what, I've had a meteoric rise in this company. I can't exactly tell you all the reasons why. Some of it I think is pure dumb luck. Some of it is because I got the right education, some because I was in the right place at the right time with the right people, who knows? But my story is not all that different. I started out in this business by going to my chiropractor one day, Dr. Gary Campbell, Skip Campbell, you guys know him, I'm sure. And when Skip got done with my adjustment that day, as I walked out the door, he says, "Hey, by the way, what are you doing tonight?" And I said, "Nothing, why?" And he said, "Well, come back to the office at 6:30. I've got something important I want to share with you." And that's all he said. He didn't say superoxide dismutase or catalase or Dr. McCord or Protandim or oxidative stress or anything else. He just said, "I've got something important I want to share with you." The reason I tell you that story is I had a ton of credibility and integrity for Skip. And so when he invited me to look at something, I said yes without thinking about it, without asking about it. You have more credibility with the people in your world than you think you do, but you have to make that invitation with posture. For those of you who are participating in the 7-day recruiting challenge with Eric Worre right now, which is a phenomenal event. If you're not in it, get in it. It's free. You can still get in it. It's 90 minutes a day for 7 days. I'm going to tell you what, the number one thing you have to do, the tips and tricks and tools you're going to get out of these top leaders that are just superstar recruiters, is you've got to deliver that invitation with posture. Skip delivered that invitation with posture, positivity, and with concern and care for me. I could feel it when he asked me the question. And so I said yes. When you do that with the people you talk to, trust me, you'll get a lot more yeses than you get nos to watch our video or attend a meeting or whatever it is that you're inviting people to do. So that's important. So I came back that night and I sat down in his office. There was only myself and one other guest. It was a couple. Skip got up, he talked for a few seconds, and then he played the ABC primetime video. He came and sat right behind me while the video played. And as soon as it was over, I leaned over my shoulder to Skip as it was finishing. And I said, please tell me there's a way a guy can make money doing that. And he said, yeah. He goes, the guy in the front of the room, which was Tyler Daniels, he said, sitting over there in the corner, he's the number one man in the company. He's about to tell you how to make money. I said, okay, great. I want to hear this. I said, I don't know what I'm watching and I don't understand it all, but I understand it's unique, it's different, it's special, and I want to hear about it. So Tyler proceeds to get up and fall to the floor and pass out. He'd done 10 back-to-back meetings that day. He hadn't drank enough water. He's in Colorado. It's dry to begin with. You really got to hydrate when you're in Colorado. Hadn't eaten anything. He had food sitting right there. He just hadn't eaten his food and drank his drink. And literally they had to take him outside, get him some fresh air, get him cleaned up, get him back in and have him do the meeting. Now, I tell you that story because for hints ever now, I get to be the one and only guy that says I made Tyler Daniels pass out. And Tyler Daniels, when he tells the story, says, he goes, this is how bad you can be. You can get up to give a presentation and pass out. And he said, and the guest still gets in. And oh, by the way, it's Greg Dieker. So it's the same story. It's just perspective, right? So I walk out of that meeting that night after having heard about it, and I know I've got to do this. I say this is absolutely my thing. Because why? I'd done network marketing before. In fact, I'd done it 7 times with 7 other companies. And if you want to call me a 7-time failure, you can. Because I had never made enough money at any one of those companies to even cover my expenses, much less be able to hit it out of the park like we've done at LifeVantage. And so people ask me all the time, what's the difference? And I say, well, it's pretty simple. It's the product. Oh, and it's the company. And oh, it's the timing. And the list just continues to go on and on and on. It's the science. It's the people. It's everything rolled all into one, which I never saw at any of the other companies I was with. And in fact, I look back now at those companies and I can look at the companies that really had poor products and say that was a poor product, or had bad leadership, or had no marketing, or had, they just didn't have it. They were late to the game in the marketplace. So their timing was bad. I can see that now, but I can also see I didn't work as hard at those companies as I work here. Now, when I walked out of there that night, I knew I had to do this. I absolutely knew it. But at the time, my wife and I were dead broke. We were living hand to mouth. We'd lost $1 million ranch that we had built with our own bare hands, paid for it out of our pockets. We had lost it all. Pretty much we'd lost everything but our pride. If we wanted to talk to a bill collector, all we had to do was answer the phone because they were calling, trust me. So me needing to get $1,000 when I couldn't rub a couple of $20 bills together, I had to be creative. Well, it just so happened at that point in time, the way my wife and I were making ends meet is we were selling trees off the small ranch we had moved to when we lost the one we had. And so there was one particular tree that the guy that was buying most of my trees had offered me $1,000 for, but my wife had said no. She kind of liked it because it was in the front yard of the house. So my first phone call was not to my wife. My first phone call was to Steve, the tree guy. And I said, hey, Steve, you still want that tree? He said, absolutely. I said, great. Be at the house tomorrow morning at 6:30. Bring your tree spade and a check for $1,000. It's yours. And then I had to go home and tell my wife. Now, I can tell you now, it did not go over well, because this is a woman who'd seen me fail at network marketing before. And yet here I was again, investing $1,000 that we didn't have, quite honestly, in a network marketing opportunity. And then I told her, well, the money came from the tree. Needless to say, I was sleeping in the doghouse for probably 2 months. But she learned very quickly it was different. In fact, I hadn't been in the business 2 weeks and a $1,250 check showed up on the kitchen counter. And the week after that, it was a $1,750 check. And the month after that, it was a $2,200 check. And I remember my wife distinctly picking up that check, looking at it and looking at me and said, is this real will it cash? And I said, absolutely. She goes, do you think this is the one? Do you think they're going to make it? And I said, yes. I said, this is the one. I have no doubt in my mind, looking at what they've got to offer the public, it's going to be the one. And she goes, great, I need a new car. And she laid the check down and walked out of the room. Needless to say, 2 weeks later, my wife got a new car. And we went to work on LifeVantage, and we went to work as hard and fast as we could go. I tell the story that I didn't take a day off for 180 days. And I mean, not a day off. Even on Sunday, even on my Sabbath, I was working something. I was calling people, following up, doing invitations, sometimes home meetings, whatever. But I just said, I've got to grab onto this and run as hard and as fast as I can. I can't let it get away from me. I had the fear of missing out like you can't believe. FOMO was in front of my face every minute of every day. But 10 months into it, we were able to get our first 5-figure check. 13 months into it, we're Elite Pro 7s. 18 months into it, I'm retiring from my job as a deputy sheriff on 3.5, almost 4 times what the sheriff paid me. So does it work? Yeah, it works. And I tell people that story not to impress you. I don't want to impress you with what happened, but to impress upon you it's possible. If I can do it, having been a 7-time failure in network marketing, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because let me tell you this, I carried some baggage. I carried baggage from all these other companies that I'd learned all these bad habits from and all these things that didn't work. So I had to relearn the business. I had to listen to my upline. I had to make sure I made every event. I had every meeting, every training, every presentation, no matter what, 7 days a week, I was in this business. I was all in, 100% all in. And that's what it took to become a success, because I had to learn. I had to learn so much. This is like any business. If I went and took another job tomorrow, working someplace I'd never been before, would I have to be all in? Would I have to go to every training, every event, everything that I could possibly plug into and learn from? I'd have to. That's what we have to do here. And that's what I did. So when somebody tells you the story about the guy that sold a tree out of his front yard to get into business, that was me. I was that guy. I tell you that story partially to tell you, when somebody says, I don't have the money for this, guess what? They do. They're just not thinking creatively enough. Do they have a tree? Maybe the tree is a 65-inch TV that they really shouldn't be watching anyway. Is it a third car they have that maybe they really don't need that car anyway? They're just hanging on to it. I mean, whatever it happens to be, I've known people that sold every piece of electronics out of their house, every TV, stereo, everything, so they came up with enough money to get in the business, because they took the attitude, if I do this business right, I don't need the TV anyway, and a year from now, we'll be making enough money, we can replace whatever we want to replace. I've seen people sell cars, I've seen them do all kinds of things, but be creative.
Wow.
And so that's my story of how I got into this. That's my story of how I built success. I have to give all the credit to my team. I don't get to take any of this credit myself. I don't want to take any of it. It belongs to all the other people who work their tails off to build businesses. Twice during that first 18 months I was in the business, I got hospitalized and ended up having to take a month off in those first 18 months, and my business grew both times. Why? Because there was a lot of other people that had the same thing I had, which was FOMO. They didn't want to miss out. They wanted to make sure they took advantage of everything that was going on. And I'm the same way today. I do not want to miss the opportunities that are laying in front of us right now. This quarter right now, I think, is one of the most important quarters, if not the most important quarter in the history of the company. We're in a position right now to leverage 3 major events to create momentum in this company. The first was already a couple weeks ago with our global convention, which I'm sure all of you were part of, and it was fantastic. I can't tell you the quality of what came out of that and the number of people on my team that are fired up and running hard now. The second piece of leverage you've got is what's going on right now with Eric Worre's 7-day recruiting challenge. I think everybody needs to be taking advantage of that. They need to be using the tidbits, the motivation and inspiration they get from it. Get out their ITT and go to town. ITT program 25 or project 25, guess what? It's got to be one every day. It's project 30, minimum of 30 times a month. You're talking to somebody. If you can talk to somebody 5 times a day, you talk to 5 different people a day. Just ask them to watch your 3-minute video and take it from there. You know, however you introduce it based on your relationship with that person and how you need to do it. Be creative. Say, hey, I've got something fabulous. It's new. I'm really excited about. I would love you to watch this 3-minute video just so I can get your feedback on what you like about it and what you think is good about it. Get them to watch the video. And then if they want to know more, take them on to the second video. I mean, it works, guys. It absolutely works. Invite, tool, team. Today, if you were on the 7-day recruiting challenge, you heard Emily Vavra talk about it in different kinds of terms, but she said, you know, invite the people, put them on the video, and then get them connected to somebody in a 3-way call. What is that? It's invite, tool, team. And this is a lady that makes a couple $1 million a month in network marketing. Never did network marketing before she got in it. And now 9 years later, she's making a couple $1 million a month. It's a tried and true way of doing things. So use it. So I think that taking those 3 things, leverage them together into the first quarter of next year, gives every one of you that's on this call right now and every member of your team that takes advantage of them. The third item, I'm sorry, I forgot to talk about the third thing. The third piece of leverage is GoPro. Virtual GoPro happens December 11th to 13th. You can watch it from your house. You don't have to travel. You don't have airfare. You don't have hotels, meals, all that kinds of stuff. And it's still going to be the great event that it's always been. I think if we tag those 3 things together, use all of that event-wise and motivation-wise and training-wise and everything else, we can't lose. We can put this company into momentum in the first quarter of next year.
Wow.
Skip Campbell told me yesterday that our team, since the end of Global, has more than doubled the number of enrollments for the same period immediately before that. That tells me there's something going on really good. And there's a lot of other teams doing the exact same thing. I'm sure you guys are as well. My team's already put in more platinum packs to this day of the month than we put in a month ago for the whole month. I'm just telling you, it's
Wow.
working. ITT is working. We've just got to go out there and use it.
Right.
I was specifically asked to talk about some horse stuff tonight. And so let me make the horse stuff as simple as I possibly can. And that is, horses are mammals like humans. Protandim does the exact same thing inside of a horse that it does inside of a human, and that's activate the NRF2 pathway in their cells. It operates the exact same way. I'm always asked about dosage. Dosage for a standard size horse is 2 pills a day. That comes directly from Dr. McCord in that face-to-face conversation I had with him. He said it's not based on weight, it's based on surface area of the body. He said, think of it, if a human body is 1, he said, double the size of that human body, it gets pretty close to a horse. And he said, so he goes, 2 for a horse is plenty. He said, maybe if you had a draft horse or something like that, a huge 2,000 pounder, big, you know, Clydesdale or Shire or something like that, he said, you might want to go 3 just because their body size is so big, but 2 should be sufficient for any standard size horse. Do not feed your horse pet tandem. Pet tandem is not designed for a horse. It's not formulated for a horse. It will not get you the results you're looking for with a horse. So please do not feed pet tandem to your horse. If your horse has some kind of acute problem, you may want to feed more. I know someone who had skin cancer on their horse, and so they upped the dose to 3 a day, and it gave them the ability to attack that skin cancer from an inside out position. The vet was treating it with this vet's things as well, but the bottom line for it was it healed. The vet said it healed in record time. He'd never seen anything like it. And you know, we can't claim we cure cancer, but I tell you what, we reduce oxidative stress. Look it up. If you don't know this, you can go to PubMed and you can look up equine oxidative stress on PubMed. Last I checked, there were well over 400 studies on equine oxidative stress. And so you can look up a ton of things and look up whether oxidative stress is related to a certain condition with a horse. You can do it with cows. You know, bovine equine stress, dogs, canine oxidative stress, feline oxidative stress. You can look all of that up on PubMed and you'll see dozens to hundreds of studies for all of them. And that's how it works. I want to show you guys some pictures. Can you give me the ability to share my screen, Debbie, or whoever's in control?
Sam? Can you do a screen share for Greg?
I
I can. I see it.
can share my screen. If somebody can go walk me through how to let him share, I don't know how to do that.
You make him a co-host?
Yes, Sam, you can make him a co-host. Find his name, Greg Dieker, and then click on the, hold on. Click on the,
I got it. Okay.
yes. If he's a co-host, then, you know,
It says change the host to Greg Dieker. Here you go.
okay, cool.
Oh, great. Thanks. Okay, hang on a second. I want to share with you some pictures. Yep, that's the right one. Okay. So I need to, hang on a second. I need to get back to the page that's got, well, I got to try sharing again. Maybe this is the page I want. All right. So this is a horse I own. He was sent to a cattle ranch in Montana to get some seasoning working cattle in big country. Unfortunately, the gentleman I sent him with turned out to not be reputable. And it was a bad deal. In fact, I think I have a picture of him in here if I spot it, of me unloading him from the horse trailer. Yeah, you can see the trailer in the background. This is what his head looked like when I took him out of the horse trailer. I'm going to honestly tell you, if I had been armed at the time, I just might have killed the guy, because he had ruined an amazing horse. And I don't know how else to put it. It just unbelievable what he did to that horse. And I can't tell you just how bad it hurt to see that horse come off that wagon that way. So I want to go. That's not where I want to go. We're gonna have to try this again. I didn't have this much trouble doing this the last time. So anyway, that's what he looked like when I unloaded him off the trailer. And he needed to have surgery. And this is a picture of him before we took him to the hospital. So this is what we were dealing with. This is a picture of him. Let's see. This is what he looked like when he came home after the surgery. If you look over here, you see a bunch of stitches. They had to open a hole over here the size of a little bigger than a silver dollar, and they removed a silver dollar sized piece of dead bone from his head that was left over from having been kicked.
Greg, you cannot
Cool.
see the big picture.
What's that?
You cannot see the big picture when you click.
You might need a double click on it. It's not coming up to the big
Oh,
picture.
it's not? Oh, that's not good. Let's see if this one comes up.
Maybe try double
This is
click.
Well, I did. Can you see that?
No, we're just seeing all your small thumbprints still.
Oh, that's not good. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to do something different here. Can you see that one?
Yeah.
Yep, that worked.
Okay, so that's what he looked like when he came out of the hospital. And over here, if you can see my mouse, this is the area where they took the silver dollar sized piece of dead bone out of his head. And it was disgusting, to say the least. But here's the good news. This is what he looked like. Let's see now, make sure I get the right one. See that?
Yeah.
Okay, that was just 3 weeks later. He's also already healing like you can't believe. He's on 2 Protandim, and right now is the point in time we started adding True Science on the outside. 2 to 3 times a day, we were adding True Science to his forehead. And he started healing and healing rapidly, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
And let's see. I want to show you the healed shot, and I don't know why I'm not. Oh, here we go. This is what I want. So there he is, fully healed. I can honestly tell you that if you walked up to him today and did not know he was ever injured, you would never know. The hair is completely grown back. He has no bony lumps, no nothing like that, and looks fantastic. And he's doing fantastically well too. That's the best part. He's doing extremely well. In fact, my wife is out roping on him tonight. She took him and another one of our horses and went roping tonight. So that can give you a little bit of an example of what I think makes a world of difference in the healing of a horse. The vet told me to expect this horse to take 6 to 8 months to heal, and it was more like 6 to 8 weeks. And he was completely healed at that stage of the game. And so I can't tell you, how nice it was to be able to do that. He subsequently got hurt once again, a different time. And I don't know that I have that one. I don't think I have that one up. And as much trouble as I'm having now, I think I'll call it a day and not try to do that anymore. But let me turn that back over to you. I'm going to stop sharing. Here we go. And
Oh, wow. That was just amazing, Greg, what you bring to the table, not only in your expertise as a horseman and a cattleman, a horse lover, animals that you've saved, and what you've told us tonight, the healing power that our bodies have, if it's just getting the right nutrition. But the other thing is, I really want to know, I want to tell you that when I went to that event and I heard you talk, and I spent every hour asking somebody, was this real? And events changed my life, because if I had never gone to that, I would have never gone I would not have been in the business. I would always have the product. The product was amazing. But to be able to go to an event and get validation from somebody like you, and over the years have learned, what kind of person you are and how you take care of animals and what you've done for all of us. It's just very incredible 8 years that I've been in LifeVantage. So I'm going to tell each one of you guys, make sure, like Greg was talking about, these events that are coming up, that's could catapult your business into next year, is super important. The other thing is, don't forget about getting registered for Salt Lake City, because that's coming up and it's not far. It's in March. Salt Lake City, I think it's about the 11th about the middle of the month. But get registered and get excited, because we're going to get to be together again. And this is how we change lives, is by getting people in front of information they need, but also in front of people just like Greg. How many people do you wish you had more people listening to what Greg brought to the table today? First, no success, and then massive success. So I am so grateful that you were able to be on the call and bring what you did to all of us. Get registered, and let's plan on seeing everybody out in Salt Lake City. And I'm going to call this a wrap. And thank you so much.
Hang on. One last thing. I want to answer the question from Cynthia about her Chihuahua. That at 3 pounds, one a day is plenty. You'll be just fine with that. And number 2, if you guys, I wrote a white paper on horses and Protandim. It goes through tons of questions about horses and Protandim and how they work together, why they do what they do, along with about 15 testimonials, anecdotal testimonials from different people that have used it and the results and success that they've had. If anyone wants that, Debbie, what I'm going to do is I'm going to email it to you. Okay. And if you guys would let Debbie know you want a copy of the white paper, she can send it out to you. It's a PDF. I only ask that you do not change anything that's on it because it's all my original work. And I actually got called on the carpet by compliance here a couple, 3 years ago because someone had taken my paper and they changed a bunch of things in it that made it non-compliant, badly non-compliant. Trust me, it's partially non-compliant to begin with, but we won't go there. But they made it terrible, and they came after me because they thought it was mine, when in fact it wasn't. So please don't change anything. And my contact information's on it. If you've got specific questions about something, you can feel free to reach out to me via email. That's actually my primary method of communication, or give me a phone call. It doesn't make a difference one way or the other. And I'll be more than happy to answer your questions or do three-way calls with you about horses, because it's what's important to me. It's really, really, really important to me. So Debbie, as soon as we get off of here, I'll send that over to you.
Thank you so much, Greg. We really appreciate all your energy and your expertise. And you've brought it to us, and now it's our time to go blow it up. Thank you so much.
Go get it, guys. We got the best thing in the world going. Don't let it get out of your hands. Take care, everybody. Night, night.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Hey, Greg, if you wouldn't mind ending the meeting, I think you're still the main host. So if you could end.
End meeting for all. Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank
Love
you
you
so
guys.
much.
Thank you
Bye.
for